Article on ABC News by Rebecca Santana, Associated Press, Michael Bismarck, Associated Press, and Michael Kunzelman of the Associated Press. That's Kunzelman. This was published on the 13th of July, 2024. Title: The Secret Service is investigating how a gunman who shot and injured Trump was able to get so close. Having the Secret Service investigated is like having the fox there to protect the chickens in the coop. It doesn't make any sense. They're the ones that screwed it up. The U.S. Secret Service is investigating how a gunman armed with an AR-style rifle was able to get close enough to shoot and injure former President Donald Trump at his rally in Pennsylvania. What has to be investigated is why did they have the shooter in their scope and wait until he shot first before they neutralized him, and not alert the president or those protecting the president that he has to get off the stage. That's what needs to be investigated. But again, having the Secret Service investigate themselves is like having the coyote there to protect the chickens in the coop. The U.S. Secret Service is investigating how a gunman armed with an AR-style rifle was able to get close enough to shoot and injure former President Donald Trump at a rally Saturday in Pennsylvania in a devastating failure of one of the agency's core duties. I heard that the head of the Secret Service is a lesbian. Don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. The gunman, who officials said was killed by Secret Service personnel, fired multiple shots at the stage from an elevated position outside of the rally venue, the agency said. An Associated Press analysis of more than a dozen videos and photos taken at the Trump rally, as well as satellite imagery of the site, shows the shooter was able to get astonishingly close to the stage where the former president was speaking. A video posted on social media and geolocated by AP shows Crooks' body lying motionless on the roof of a manufacturing plant just north of the Butler Farm Showgrounds, where Trump's rally was held. A different image shows Crook wearing a gray t-shirt with black American flag on the right arm with a bloody wound to his head. It also shows his gun about 8 feet away from him. The roof was fewer than 150 meters, 164 yards from where Trump was speaking, a distance from which a decent marksman could reasonably hit a human-sized target. For reference, 150 meters is a distance at which U.S. Army recruits must hit a human-sized silhouette to qualify with the M16 assault rifle in basic training. The AR-style rifle, like that of the gunman at the Trump rally, is the semi-automatic civilian version of the military M16. I think I said that in one of the other videos. President Brain Dead Hairplug Joe Biden said Sunday he has directed an independent review of the security at the rally. Well, how can it be an independent review if the CIA is investigating themselves, or the Secret Service? Biden said he also directed the U.S. Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which begins Monday in Milwaukee. Audrey Gibson Chico, the Secret Service coordinator for the convention, told reporters later the agency was satisfied with what she called as comprehensive planning for the Republican convention. Looks like we got a lot of females in the Secret Service. Biden urged Americans not to make assumptions about the motive of the shooter. He said investigators are working swiftly to investigate the attack. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, he said, but nothing is more important than that right now. Calls for an investigation came from all sides. Representative Mark Green, a Tennessee Republican who chairs the House Committee on Homeland Security, sent a letter to Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas on Sunday, raising questions about the shooting and demanding information about former President's Secret Service protection. The seriousness of the security failure and the chilling moment in our nation's history cannot be understated, Green wrote. The Secret Service did not have a speaker at the news conference Saturday night, where the FBI and Pennsylvania State Police officials briefed reporters on a shooting investigation. FBI Special Agent in Charge, Kevin Rojek, said it was surprising that the gunman was able to fire at a stage before he was killed. Yeah, you're not kidding. Members of the Secret Service counter-sniper team and counter-assault team were at the rally, according to two law enforcement officials. The officials spoke on condition of anonymity because they weren't authorized to discuss details of the investigation. A heavy armed counter-assault team, whose Secret Service codename is Hawkeye, is responsible for eliminating threats so that other agents can shield and take away the person they are protecting. The counter-sniper team, known by the codename Hercules, uses long-range binoculars and is equipped with sniper rifles to deal with long-range threats. Mayorkas said his department and the Secret Service are working with law enforcement to investigate the shooting. Maintaining the security of presidential candidates and their campaign events is one of the department's most pivotal and vital priorities, he said. We condemn this violence in the strongest possible terms and commend the Secret Service for the swift action today, Mayorkas said. We are engaged with President Biden, former President Trump, and their campaigns and are taking every possible measure to ensure their safety and security. Green also noted reports that the Secret Service has rebuffed requests from the Trump campaign for additional security. A spokesman for the Secret Service, Anthony Guglielmo, said on X Sunday that those allegations were absolutely false and that they had added resources and technology as the campaign's travel increased. Green said he would be talking with Secret Service Director Kimberly Seattle on Sunday. She's the one that I was told, or I read. I'm going to have to look into it, but apparently she's a lesbian. Former top Secret Service agents told the AP that cooks should never have been allowed to gain access to the roof, and the agency will have to figure out how that happened. They said such a lapse could have been the cause of officers negligent their posts or a flaw in the event security plan. Again, the question I have is if they had the shooter in their sights, why didn't they alert the other teams to get Trump off the stage? The agency is going to have to go through the security plan and interview a number of people from the director on down to figure out what went wrong, said Stephen Kolo, who retired in 2003 as an assistant director after 27 years career in the service. Kolo said presidential candidates and former presidents don't typically get the same level of protection as the sitting president. In fact, Kolo said he was surprised that the agency had staffed the event with counter-sniper team, such a valuable resource. There are not many of those highly trained agents. It's usually reserved for presidents. Candidates don't usually get such teams. Timothy McCarthy, a former agent who retired from the agency in 1994, said the Secret Service better be doing a deep dive into what happened there and doing whatever it takes to figure it out, because the gunman should not have been able to occupy such a vantage point. How did that person get up on that building? He used a ladder, said McCarthy, 75, who in 1981 took a bullet when President Ronald Reagan was shot outside the Washington Hilton Hotel. How did that happen? I mean, that's the key to the entire thing, and what measures were put in place to prevent it. James Comer, a Kentucky Republican who was the House Oversight Committee chairman, said he contacted the Secret Service for a briefing and called on Seattle to appear for a hearing. Comer said his committees will send a formal invitation soon. Political violence in all forms is un-American and unacceptable. There are many questions and Americans demand answers, Comer said in a statement. U.S. Rep. Richard E. Torres, a New York Democrat, called for investigating security failures at the rally. The federal government must constantly learn from security failures in order to avoid repeating them, especially when those failures have implications for the nation, Torres said. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, a Democrat, posted on X that he and his staff are in contact with security planning coordinators ahead of the Republican National Convention set to begin Monday in Milwaukee. We cannot be a country that accepts political violence of any kind. That is not who we are as Americans, Evers said. The FBI said it will lead the investigation into the shooting, working with Secret Service and local and state law enforcement. Attorney General Merrick Garland said the Justice Department will bring every available resource to bear to this investigation. My heart is with the former president, those injured, and the family, the spectator killed in a horrific attack, Garland said in a statement. We will not tolerate violence of any kind, and violence like this is an attack on our democracy. Like I said, folks, someone needs to look into the fact that the snipers had the shooter in their sights, and they waited until after he fired, and as soon as he fired, they neutralized them. So why didn't they alert the other agents that there's a sniper on the roof? Interesting question. Will it ever be answered? Probably not. No different than 9/11. And I can go on and on and on and on, and you know the rest of it, don't you? I'll attach the link. Let me know what you think. You sure as hell know what I think. Pass it along, and thanks for listening.